Good morning, everyone. Hopefully, my Wi-Fi is working today. We're always having Wi-Fi problems in this office, in this building. But good morning, everyone. Welcome, Bia. Good morning, Honor. Good morning. Welcome, YouTube, Instagram. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Facebook. Good morning. Sam X, good morning. Rita, good morning. Anna's fed up. Tell me about it. We all are fed up. Good morning. Chai Five, good morning. Olarin Waju says, how are you today? Good morning. Um, Make Mapasa says, just tapping in to say hello and thanks for your consultation yesterday. You're a saint and an angel. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Nalechi says, good morning. You look beautiful as always. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yolanda, good morning. Sam, watching from Texas. Peggy on YouTube from Chicago. Welcome. How's everyone doing? Dexter from Miami. Good morning. Good morning, Holken. So my name is Aisha Chidole, and I'm an immigration attorney here in Atlanta, Florida. I said Atlanta, Florida, Atlanta, Georgia, and I represent clients all over the United States with their immigration matters. So we handle family-based immigration, marriage-based cases, children, parents, siblings, consular processing, or adjustment of status for those, fiancé visas, removal of conditions. We also handle humanitarian-based cases like, VAWA cases, T cases, and U visa cases. And we also handle, removal proceedings. If you'd like to schedule a consultation, definitely give us a call, 678-325-1037. Let me just put my phone number real quick in the Instagram ticker. For those of you who are in Facebook, you can probably see this number already saved there. 678, just 1 second. Guys, it's hard for me to type numbers and talk at the same time, so I don't want to make a mistake. But you can keep typing your questions. I'll get to them in a second. Okay, so there we go. Let me pin that. Okay. All right, so let's just jump right into it. Someone is asking, my son is unwell and I have to travel out of the US on a valid advance parole through VAWA, no criminal record or immigration issue. I just adjusted my status. I'm worried if I'm safe to travel back to the United States. What do you mean when you say you traveled on parole, but you just adjusted your status? Adjustment of status means you have a green card. If you have a green card, you don't need to travel with advanced parole. So it's either one of the two. That said, as long as you have a valid advanced parole, no criminal record or anything like that, and your case is still pending and they haven't made any decision on your case, you should have no problem coming back into the United States. Now, that I'm saying is based on not understanding your question. Hopefully, if you're a green card holder already, which is what an adjustment of status means, then same thing applies to you. Right now what the courts are saying, and this is specific to green card holders right now, that if you are suspected of a crime of moral turpitude, the Customs and Border has a right to refuse you entry into the United States. What that means is that they can allow you in, but they will place you in detention so that you can go to a hearing to determine whether or not your green card should essentially be taken away from you. So if you've committed a crime of moral turpitude or you're a suspect, meaning they haven't decided your case yet, for a crime of moral turpitude and you're a green card holder, you might want to not make any international trips for right now. Okay, I have a 10-year green card. I want to file for my children in Jamaica. The ages are 9 and 13. What documents do I need for them? So typically, I don't give a list of documents on live. That's not helpful to the audience. You can certainly book a consultation so we can go over the requirements of filing for your children and what's needed. If you're one of our clients, typically your client portal will have a checklist of everything that you need to upload for your petition. Someone says, I like your makeup. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. You're welcome, Anna. How long does it take for EADs? I applied in June of 2025. Honestly, this is really one of the more frustrating things that I'm seeing happen with immigration right now, where last year we're getting work permits much quicker. This year it is at a snail pace. You know, it's literally taking like 10 to 12 months for a lot of people. So if you applied in June, we're in June, so it's about 12 months. I would suggest that you do an inquiry now just to see what the situation is, because last I checked, 10.5 months is where 80% of people are. So you should be ripe to do an inquiry to find out what's the status of your work permit. Okay. Does every denied case get an NTA? You should fully expect to get an NTA if your case is denied. Now, having said that, the question is when. There are some cases where some people come to, like we had this client come to us for an appeal. The appeal is not even due till like 2 weeks from now. And they got an NTA yesterday. So, one of the things that USCIS has told us, basically, that's basically the directives that they have. If they deny your case, if you're not in status at the time of denial, meaning you don't have any other status or anything else that gives you deferred action, they have to issue an NTA. Now, do all officers issue NTAs at the same time? Not necessarily. And for those of you who don't know, an NTA means a notice to appear in front of an immigration judge for deportation proceedings. Basically, it's your opportunity to come to deportation and also plead your case at that point of why they shouldn't deport you or something that you're eligible for. So it's a matter of timing. Some people may not get it 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, 9 months. Some people may get it within the same day that they get denied. Some people a week later. So it just really depends on who the officer is and how zealous they are in issuing those NTAs. One group, though, that you can bet and be very sure that it's going to come very, very quickly is going to be those who file an I-751. So if you're eligible for removal of conditions on your 2-year green card and you file an I-751 and your case is denied, rest assured, you must. This is pre this administration. This is just the rule. That has always been the rule with 751s. Immediately place them in deportation proceedings. So deportation proceedings is different from deportation. Deportation proceedings means that you're going to a hearing or several hearings to determine whether or not you're deportable, whether you have another basis to stay here, and let's hear those bases so that we can decide whether or not we should keep you here or send you back. So that's how that works. Can I file for citizenship after 1.5 years of a 10-year green card? Typically, no. In order to file for citizenship, eligibility from a timeline perspective is typically 5 years unless you are filing for citizenship on the basis of marriage. If it's on the basis of marriage, then it's 3 years. If it's on the basis of abuse through VAWA or through an I-751 where you were abused by your spouse, then it's 3 years. Everybody else, divorce and anybody else, you fall under the 5-year requirement. So 1.5 years, regardless of where you fall, whether that's marriage or whether that's a general provision, it's still too early. Now, there are certain groups that are able to file naturalization, those that are in the military in periods of conflict. USCIS categorizes this period right now as a period of conflict. If you're in the military, you usually want to see with the military if they're willing. Well, it depends on how long some depending on whether you're in the Navy or in the armed forces or in the Army. I don't know military jargon, but depending on where you are, it depends on when they're willing to sign your military certification. Some people may do it after basic training, after boot camp, or whatever it is, where they may be able to sign that, and you can just kind of skip ahead. Okay. All right. A lot of these questions are like duplicates. So I don't know if you guys just keep pasting your questions again or my screen is just messing up. Someone on Facebook says, what does this term elapse mean on your VAWA status? Elapse means that whatever it is, that it's expired. So I don't know what you're referring to, but if you can give me more context. But elapse typically means that something has expired. And again, if you need more, if you don't get your question answered and you want us to reach out to you after the live, you can comment yes, and someone can send you a DM. Is DUI considered a criminal offense? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Would you advise traveling on a green card if you have a DUI? If your DUI is outside of if the travel is outside of the United States, no. DUI used to be kind of like, different officers treated differently. I've had officers where it's like, okay, this is your one offense. You didn't injure anyone. You seem remorseful. It was a mistake. Go ahead. We'll approve you for citizenship. In certain cases, and in this current administration, they look at that more negatively. So they would want to know a little bit more about your DUI situation and, how often this might have happened. Are you perpetual drunk, assuming this is related to alcohol or whatever it is. But, I would say that, if this is for an international trip, they should probably just put it on pause for right now. Okay. My aunt filed an immigrant application for my mom in 2012. We got a response that the case is with NVC since 2020. Since then, nothing. My aunt is a US citizen and my mom is in Nigeria, but she has a tourist visa. I'm not sure what question you're asking, but typically, even though your case is at NVC, let me check the visa bulletin for you real quick so I can tell you what year they are processing. But typically, even if they approve you and they move your case to NVC, you just have to kind of keep that open until visas are available. Understanding that sibling visas, because if your mom's sister filed for her, then it's a sibling. Sibling visas take a long time. Let me just give you the wait time right now for the cases. So they are processing cases from 2009. So if your mom did hers in 2012, she's still looking at about 3-year wait time. So she's still looking at about a 3-year wait time, So, and understand that if she cannot overstay her time in the United States, she overstays her time in the United States, she will not be able to adjust her status here in the U.S. So if she's in Nigeria, she's better off doing consular process in Nigeria. Okay. Nessa, aka, you keep pasting the same question. I think I've answered your question. So if you don't mind, can you stop pasting the same question? I know someone that was married for less than 2 years. They got divorced. When the husband filed for divorce, the wife, who is an immigrant with no legal status, filed domestic violence and has filed VAWA. Okay, so is this a question or a comment? I'm not sure what you're asking. Are you asking me a question? Guys, if you keep spamming me with the same question about 10 times, I will have to remove you from the live because it's distracting if I've answered and it's stopping me from seeing other people's questions. My I-485 based on marriage was approved by the judge on June 5th. It was updated to USCIS on June 11th. How long does it take to process the green card? You just have to keep following it. You got to keep following it, sometimes 2 weeks. Does it say that the card has been sent to print? What does it say? So typically, send the card to print takes about a week, and then another week, they mail out the card. So you can keep checking your status to see when that moves. Do you handle EB cases? I want to book a consultation. Unfortunately, we don't have EB cases. Okay. All right. My boyfriend was brought over at a young age by his parents. His dad is a US citizen, but never filed for him. Can I give him citizenship through marriage? The answer is really going to depend on how your boyfriend came into the United States. You see, he came here through his parents. So the first question I would want to know is, was he undocumented, meaning did they cross the border with him, or did he come here with a visa and overstay his time? Because that will determine what process you can file for him. I mean, ultimately, if you are a US citizen or even a green card holder for that matter, you can file an I-130 for him. But his ability to adjust status into a green card holder first before he becomes a U.S. citizen is going to depend on how he entered into the United States. I'm happy to evaluate his case. He can call us 678-325-1037, and I can screen him and, learn a little bit about his immigration history so that I can give him some sort of guidance. Again, guys, as I say, sometimes it's very difficult to answer certain questions that you guys ask because there's so much to the puzzle that we need to know in a screening. And I don't expect you to talk about your personal lives on here. And it's better going through your history to understand what is viable for you and what options do you have, to determine whether you qualify for something or not. I would, in this case, want to also know, even for the parents, how did they get their citizenship? There's a lot that would need to uncover to determine what the best route is for him. How soon should one apply for adjustment of status once married? There is no published timeline. You can apply for adjustment of status as soon as you're ready, and you can provide evidence that you have a genuine marriage. That's the bottom line. Do you have a genuine marriage? If you have a genuine marriage, it doesn't matter whether you apply the day after you get married, or you apply 2 years after you get married, or you apply 10 years after you get married. Do you have a genuine marriage, and can you prove it? So as long as you can prove you have a genuine marriage, there's no need to wait if you're eligible. Now, if you just got married, there's no way you're going to have as much stuff as someone who's been married for several years. In that instance, or in those cases, one of the things that I encourage people to do is really look deep into their dating archives, to see what they can provide. We've had cases where they literally filed the day after they got married, and some of what we use, my hair is driving me crazy today. Some of what we use were, things from when they were dating, when they went on vacations, cruises, and all of that stuff, letters from friends and family. By the time of the interview, they of course had more things because, if you schedule for an interview, when you submit your application to immigration, for instance, and any case for that matter, until they've made a decision on your case, you should never stop gathering evidence. You should always be gathering evidence. I was talking to my husband yesterday, and I was, as I was going through one of our client's application, and I was putting all those notes, I need more of this and I need more of that, and I couldn't understand why this person didn't have more pictures, right? And, I said to my husband, I don't know if you guys know this. This is a fun fact about me. I used to be a professional wedding photographer. I don't know if you guys know that, where I used to travel around the world, shooting weddings, and I used to be in magazines and all of that stuff. I stopped doing it when I had kids. I did that while I was still working full time as a lawyer, by the way. And so I love photography. And so I take a lot of pictures by default. You can name a year and I'll go into my archive, for instance, and I will pull all those pictures. And I asked my husband, so because of that, my husband doesn't take as much pictures. Because he knows that as long as his wife is there, there'll be pictures and there'll be videos. I'm the parent that has documented my entire children's childhood. Every year that my children start a grade, I have a recording of them on the first day of school, which I plan to make into a collage from kindergarten until 12th grade. So that's just the kind of person that I am, right, in documenting. And, I was looking at this and I said, if you weren't married to me, would you have a lot of pictures to document your marriage or your relationship? And, he said, that's an interesting question. I don't know because, I am married to you and you take a lot of pictures, so I don't have to do that. So it made me kind of step in the shoes of some of my clients, which is understanding that not everybody is a picture person. Not everybody just wants to, take pictures the way that I want to take pictures. And so maybe that's why they don't have those pictures. But what I will say to you guys is that because you are filing for immigration, or you're planning to file for immigration, which is not a normal circumstance of a relationship, even if it's not something that comes naturally for you to do, you just need to do it because you need to document, because you never know when they'll say, this is not enough. every single evidence that you can gather that this is a genuine marriage. You want, even if it's not natural to you, do it. Because you gotta also put yourself in the shoe of an officer. Is it unfair? Yeah, it's unfair that they're asking you for standards that normal married people don't have to meet. But you also have to remember that as an officer, they don't know you. They don't know you. All they know is that there are a lot of people that have sham marriages, and their job is to disbelief unless you can prove otherwise. So when you come on there and you have nothing to show, what do you want them to do? Like, how do you want them to believe that your relationship is genuine? Sometimes I ask people, like in a consult, I say, well, have you never like ordered something online? Like when I'm trying to like get some sort of proof that maybe you guys live in the same household. So I'm like, you've never ordered on Amazon before? Have you ever done an Uber delivery? Have you ever ordered food? Like all these things, have records. I know, like, I guess maybe that's why I'm a lawyer or something, but like there's so many things that people don't think about, that is evidence. They just don't think about it. But you have to start thinking deeply or contact a lawyer to help you go through all your things to see what do you have. Because sometimes you have a ton of stuff that you don't even realize. I remember one case where so let me go back to that, the Uber thing. Like when people say they don't have, oh, my spouse doesn't want me to, list me on this lease or list me on this thing because I don't have a social security. I don't have this. Most people have DoorDash. Most people have Uber. Most people have what else delivers? What's a popular delivery thing? Okay, I only know Uber and DoorDash. But the point is, if you have things being delivered to you at your address, go in your app and get the history. If you have food coming to you there or grocery or whatever, let's say you don't order grocery and it's just food. These are some things that can prove that you live in the same household with this person, like in combination with their own meals. If you have USPS informed delivery, it doesn't need a social security number. Go get USPS informed delivery. USPS informed delivery is basically where you give them your email and says any mail coming to you they should send you an email. Then go print out that bad boy and submit it. Like, so there's just so much, that immigrants can do, even when you're in an oppressive relationship, for those who claim that they're in an oppressive relationship and they don't have that, to gather evidence. And I don't know if it's because most people may not think about that, but the thing is, unfortunately, and I really empathize with you. But the thing is, when you are dealing with an application that literally judges the validity of your marriage based on how much documentary evidence you have, the onus, the responsibility is on you to document that, to try to gather as much as you can, to do that, and so sometimes, if our clients, they tell you that we expect a lot, we pull a lot. And we pull and make them do that work to bring those things out. And why do we do that? Because at the end of the day, I want you to win. I want you to get your green card, because I know what officers are looking for. And I know that if you dig deeper into your archives, you can find more stuff. Go find it, because all these things help support your case. Anyway, I got to jump off, but I will see you guys next week. Again, if you want to schedule a consultation, call our office at 678-325-1037, or you can also comment yes on this live if you are on live now, or if you listen to it after, so we can reach out to you. You can also book it directly yourself on our website at chidolelaw.com/booking. But I'd love to hear from you guys, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.